What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the CuzNCiseal Show. I am your host, Mike Fowler, a.k.a. CuzNCiseal. How are you? How was your week? Did you get a Steamdeck pre-ordered? Did you get through? Did you have trouble like the rest of the society, I heard? I'm just kidding. I digress. I mean, that's definitely a topic of the show this week is the Steamdeck. But yeah, been an alright week. Still working, getting into the feel of getting back into a job, and of staying in a good mental state about it, because it's a whole other issue with me. And I'm going to talk real slow right now because I just realized my microphone's a little bit low, so hopefully I don't burst your eardrums when I start talking now. But yeah, it's been a good week. Still, like I said, still coping with the new job and just trying to figure out scheduling and all that stuff. Because, like, I ain't gonna lie, having a tighter ship of my schedule about, like, even trying to get, like, comic book creators. The show was going to still be a flaming trash heap, that Kind of Funny says, going down the highway, that I just do this on Sunday nights before Monday, because of coincidentally I at least have Sundays off. But I am nervous on wanting to do more with, like, the comic creators and all this stuff, because I work quote unquote nights, I start at 3 and get out at night. But we'll see how it goes, and obviously I'm hoping to keep the ship going. Maybe hopefully we can get people to come record on Wednesdays, and might work out. But yeah, when we get into it more simply of what I've been playing, and honestly not too much besides I did play a little bit of the PS Plus version of A Plague's Tale: Innocence, the PS5 version, just to check it out, because obviously, as you know, I think I've even talked about on this show, this is episode 51. And then we missed 1 week. So this has been a whole year of the CuzNCiseal Show. And, I have a small listener group, as judging by the numbers. And obviously, I want to just thank you guys and gals, if there is gals that listen and, tune in. It means a lot to me. But yeah, it's been a whole year. I can't believe it. But yeah, more to I digress. A Plague's Tale. It looks really good. Again, this is me playing the PS4 before platinuming it, and I can already see how much of a difference it is, because of on the PS4 they didn't have enough graphical, even for her forehead with her hair. It used to be just pixelated little lines on the PS4. The PS5, obviously, I get a nice crisp character model. The frame rate is awesome. Kind of leave it on that note, because it's a little bit, and I'm in a pickle, because it's one of those, I had the disc, beat it, traded it back, and then they put an update out so that you can then carry your save over to a PS5. Way later on an update, a more recent update, probably the week that it came out on PS5. So I want to play it again, but also I like the idea of just being able to bring my save over and auto popping the platinum. I ain't gonna lie. I'm down that. I'm about that life. But yeah. What else? I also, just because of, honestly, and about the show, I don't think it's going to be that crazy of a show we're going to talk about. Besides, I do, though, want to talk about what I've been reading, which is obviously now becoming more normal thing on the show. But this week we won't be having no, we'll say, quote unquote, like real reviews. Because honestly, I just don't want to, I don't want to fuck up the reviews because I had a busy week. I want to give them my own attention. I want to make sure that I'm not kind of like, I'm giving them their real thoughts. I don't want to just kind of sell the, read it quick and then like say, oh, it's just a 3.5. I want to give it its fair on a review. But I do have a little handful for next week. I just haven't had time to. But back to the idea that what I've been reading, I have been fortunate enough to get into kind of my backlog of actual buying comics. DC's Infinite Frontier. And that by far is more surprising that I'm getting intrigued on it than I was. Because that's obviously we've already discussed the DC's comic spectrum. Death Metal created a omniverse and opened the multiverse of it into the idea that they know each other. And I'm not going to go that deep into it, but obviously there will be, how would I word it? When I say spoilers, it's like the idea that it's like information that you would assume would have happened. I'm not going to tell you like the plot and all that shit besides like maybe a team, but the idea of I'm really impressed on is the little 6-issue run that they're doing of Infinite Frontier. And then so the first issue involves there is a new multiverse team that is like kind of monitoring the whole multiverse because of like a Justice League. And I think they're called the Justice Incarnate. And the team consists of Superman from Earth 23. And on Earth 23 is basically Black Superman, who's the president of the United States. So it's like he literally looks like Barack Obama, but as Superman. Then they also they have like a Mary Shazam. So basically like one of Shazam's sisters would be from our Earth is the main Shazam from her Earth. Aquawoman, this robot, I can't remember where they're from. And I want to say Alan Scott, the Green Lantern, is part of that team. But so the Death Metal, back to that, has basically opened up the doors. So the multiverse is known. They know about each other. They share thoughts. They even have like the Hall of Justices all have like a phone that can connect to all the Earths, blah blah blah. But the issue, what gets me intrigued is the DOE is obviously still scared of why the multiverse is now open. How do we know all about this? All of our information, or not information, but all their history is in their thoughts because of how this last crisis, Death Metal, which is not a true crisis, just open the door so that DC characters can remember their full history. They don't forget about like when they've been revamped, or like how New 52 gave them brand new quote unquote origins and stuff. They have all those thoughts collected and all that stuff. All the characters do. And like this goes into even like one of the main characters that the Infinite Frontier storyline book is kind of focusing on is Roy Harper. Roy Harper is Red Arrow or Speedy. Basically, he's basically Green Arrow's sidekick from back in the day. And they're doing a very ingenious thing with Roy, in my eyes. Roy Harper has had definitely a bumpy road of history in his life, where he's been a heroin addict. He's died maybe once, maybe twice. He obviously has children, but like he has definitely been a redheaded stepchild in stories and stuff going on in DC. And I think it's really cool is Infinite Frontier also opens the door. There are Black Lanterns again in the universe, because Black Lanterns haven't been in since Brightest Day, which was before New 52. So New 52 was maybe 5, maybe 6 years ago. So giving your a grace of understanding. But they made Roy Harper a Green Lantern, or Black Lantern, excuse me. And what was kind of cool is some of the avatars that his Black Lantern created were some of his old personas. And like that was the last page of like issue 1. And that was very awesome. And I'm like, whoa, that's just a great way. I'm not spoiling it in the sense of I don't know where this is going. I'm not telling you like what is this portraying or like the idea of like what's the plan. But I just think that's a really cool idea that we're going to walk down that path of like, wow, Roy's had a fucked up past. Let's see what they're going to go with it. Because it's Infinite Frontier, the main book, is written by Josh Williamson, which is the guy who's been, honestly, he's like the last part of the DC authors that were there for DC Rebirth and was able to still keep a book going, because like Scott Snyder was before with him, like that was with Rebirth and also New 52, and just the idea that there's still a lot of names going on, like I'm trying to say, but Joshua Williamson is definitely running the helm of Infinite Frontier, and he does a really well job at just cherry picking the things that happen through Rebirth or even New 52 ideas, and then keep the story going into their conversations. Like in particular, he does also the Flash series, and they just had a Flash annual, and he actually did a little correction in his Flash annual for a series that some fans were having trouble with about Heroes in Crisis with Wally West, and having issues with like him, quote unquote, allegedly murdering people, which then was fixed in the annual. And that's what I'm trying to say about Joshua Williamson. He does a really good job at carrying the narrative and the ideas that other authors have done, and then also has been correcting or pushing it forward. So I really respect him about that. And then also just more to shout out, like there's been multiple artists in this, because there's multiple different little stories going on. Like they show Paul Peltier, Jesus Mirno, and then, oh boy, XERMANICO as a penciler. Nora Ratmud and Jesus Mirno also, and also that I'm just gonna say Zir Messino is inkers, and then just there's a lot of people in this, because it's the main storyline that pushes like the DC Universe storyline forward. But more back to what I'm trying to say about reading it. It seems very interesting. It also, it also involves, right off the get-go, in particular about Flash, before Infinite Frontier, because I'm trying to say it slow, because I get all mumbly. The multiverse was also known, but only a select few knew. And there was like 52 worlds. Into this new Infinite Frontier, it sounds like they've added a couple more Earths. Whereas in what I'm going to say, like there is now a Earth Zero. I don't think it's Earth Prime, but there's a Earth Zero, and then there's also a new one called, did I even say just Prime? That might have just, but there is a, long story short, Flash ran to an Earth that was basically at the end of Infinite Frontier issue 0, where it shows that Darkseid is coming. And then he ran and saw the garments and like the ashes of basically all the, what would be the most powerful, not gods, but spirits, like the Spectre and like all those people and people that are under like the Wonder Woman guidelines of gods in some other storylines, they were basically zapped in and died from this new dark side who was supposed to be the purest form of dark side. All the dark sides prior to this have been technically been avatars of dark side, and he's been so strong. Then they've always tried to understand that, oh, if they had the real dark side come out, watch out. And this is the storyline that's supposed to have a real dark side being coming. But what back to what I'm trying to say is very interesting, and I'm more saying it right here because it's been what we're already at 15 minutes of this shit talking. Just more if you guys were interested in the Infinite Frontier storyline, which this is normal, but it's going to be answers that are going to be at, like, these are some of the main questions the DOE, quote unquote, have about the multiversal mysteries to be solved. They're trying to see what team is Oracle forming and why. So that's a part of, I'm not sure yet. What is Fear State? Fear State is this summer's Batman event with Scarecrow. So there's going to be, that's one of the questions that the main DC world wants to know. Why is Clark Kent leading a new version of the Authority? Spoilers, issue 1 comes out this week, which is one of the hot picks. But another one later this month is, will Jonathan Kent be able to fill his father's shoes as Superman? And can Wonder Woman escape the God's fear and return to Earth? Because since Death Metal, Diana Pierce has been basically in like a limbo, or like, not in this world, trying to get her way back to this world since Death Metal. Which hero is wearing a Black Lantern ring? Okay, we kind of, there might be more. Has the fastest man alive outrun his past? So that part is Wally West, because now they have learned that Wally West is faster than Barry Allen. But I digress. That's a whole nother thing. I'm just saying these questions so I can bring you up to the next part I'm going to say. And then the 8th question is, how is Roy Harper alive? As I've tried to said, Roy has been dead multiple times because he's a heroin addict. But if you guys are interested to become a DC fan like me and want to get into the books that are coming that want to answer the Infinite Frontier questions, they have a list that shows like Aquaman the Becoming, Batman's Run, Batman Fear State Alpha book is going to be talking about. There's going to be a Black Manta comic coming out. There's also the Blue and Gold, which is a limited series of Cord Blue Beetle. So the oldest, not the oldest, but one of the older Blue Beetles and Booster Gold story or book coming. The Catwoman series is going to have answers. The Green Lantern books are going to have answers. I Am Batman. I Am Batman is the book line about Jace Fox, which is obviously the next Batman, the Black Batman. His story is coming, and it will have questions and answers for this. Of course, the Infinite Frontier line. We're on issue 2 out of 6. The Justice League, of course, will have its questions and answers on there. Nightwing will have answers. Robin, which is a great series from Josh Williamson. Robin. Shazam is getting a new book. Suicide Squad, which has been running with Peacekeeper right now, has been pretty interesting that they've been running it in an interesting way that Suicide Squad's past 5 books have been co-books to other series. And it's been a great way of looking at it. Hey, these are just teams of misfits. Well, it's going to be, here's their side of the story of Titan Academy. And so it's really been really cool to notice. And also they're going to fight Swamp Thing soon. But Superman the Authority, like we talked about, they'll have, of course, their own answers. Superman, Son of Kal-El, which is obviously Superboy becoming Superman. This one is kind of interesting that they're going to do this one. But Task Force Z. It's a zombie book coming in October. And it's very interesting that it's part of the Infinite Frontier. But I think it's interesting they're doing another zombie, quote-unquote, team up since they've done Deceased. And another one that's not on here, but again, it's not on here. I just want to talk about it. they're having a fucking DC versus vampire book coming that looks very wicked of the idea of like why they're doing it. But back to this list. Teen Titan Academy, which has been a great run. The Flash, obviously Josh Williamson runs it, so of course it's going to be talked about in it. And also Flash is one of the biggest characters of any Crisis event. And then the Swamp Thing, great run. And then, of course, Wonder Woman. But yeah, just wanted to more say that about what I've been reading. And yeah, let's get into books. Or not books. The news. And so this week in particular, we've had a couple delays. So like Ghost Rider Tokyo has been delayed to next year, which was kind of interesting. I have a list of games from GameStop that you can go pre-order, and Ghost Rider, this was got this a month ago. I was just taking a peek at it before I started recording. I'm like, they don't even have Ghost Rider on this list, so they must have known something that we didn't. But yeah. And then I saw that Cyberpunk has finally returned to the PSN store, and this month they actually got the number one spot for downloaded game on the PSN store. And then for another little MPD stuff, June has become the first month for Xbox to basically have the most cash sold. You know, they made the most money this month. They might have, I think Switches still gave them Switches are still the number one console sold this month, but this is technically the biggest month for Microsoft in years. So hey, all the Game Pass news and all this stuff must be still working. This also could be effects of, you know what I mean? Other things to it. This could be from when somebody's 3-month subscription finally hit to a $15 mark. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot to it. But no, I'm not going to give them shit because obviously, hey, I do have to give Microsoft's public PR a pat on the back because they've definitely have been doing the Lord's work with that system and also like keeping people conversating just about Game Pass and stuff. Long story short, also we're walking into the 25th anniversary of Persona, and starting in September, going to 2022 September, there will be random announcements for up to 7 new Persona games. And so I'm assuming Persona 6. We'll call them out right now. We'll try to get as close to 7 as we can. Persona 6. A dancing Persona game. There will be a Persona Nintendo handheld like a Persona Q in my eyes. There will be I wonder if they're going to count no, that's Shin Tensei. I bet we're going to see Persona 3 remastered. I think we're going to get what's another Persona style game? I think we're going to get another arena fighting game. And then that's 5. I think that's a good run for me to pick. We'll keep them, and 2 mobile games. There, 7. There'll be 2 Persona mobile games be announced within this next year. Book it on episode 51 of CuzNCiseal Show. On the year anniversary of the CuzNCiseal Show, I'm telling you the next year of Persona announcements there. Boom. And then, I see that 2 other quick ones before we get into the Steamdeck. Kojima doesn't like the director's cut being called director's cut. He prefer to be like director's plus, which that actually sounds a lot better than director's cut because of the taintedness of director's cuts to my ears anymore. But and then also Xbox controllers could be getting DualSense features sooner than later. Or the idea that the option is on the table that Phil Spencer did say on the Kind of Funny podcast, which did a whole fucking news run because of him being on. And, congratulations to them to get the big dog on there to talk. So, hey, I'm glad that they actually got some news or some information possibly out. So, I mean, should I think yes. I think definitely Xbox should definitely innovate their controller. They haven't really innovated their controller in a functionality wise ever since 360. Of course they added a share button for this generation, but that was, that's very minimalistic compared to even if you want to say like boost up a rumble or like what's the word? They did have I'll give them that. They did have the triggers that actually had some what's the word? Haptic feedback prior, but I don't think it ever went as the same distance as, of course, a DualSense, because obviously they started it, PlayStation redefined it, but then hopefully Microsoft will come back and redefine it for their party also ecosystem. So, but yeah, and then there's been actually one more thing. The Steamdeck thing really surprised me. I think that's why I keep on mumbling about it. But there's another story is that Netflix has said, hey, in 2022, we are adding video games to our service. Wow. Look out, Stadia. If Stadia wasn't dead already, go put a bullet in the back of its head right now, because Netflix, even if Netflix flops, Netflix has obviously the talking circle and the people around them that will definitely blow it out of the water for no reason. They also picked up an ex-EA, ex-Facebook, I want to say ex-Facebook director to help them with this this mission. And then also one more crazier thing is there has been some data miners that has apparently seen something in the data of Netflix that looks like it pertains to there might be a possible PlayStation deal with some games, and like people have been showing Ghost of Tsushima. So I'm assuming Ghost of Tsushima is in the data mining to look like it might be coming to Netflix, which is definitely whoa and crazy in my opinion. I know Ghost of Tsushima was good, but like I can't believe how much they've been carrying some of these newer titles, trying to get them into these like not even like fan favorite, because they like their fan base like me, I love it already. But the idea that they're pushing these things to become like household names in the sense of like just casual people who understand, oh, I've heard of Ghost of Tsushima, never played it, but also it's everywhere. It's on I don't think it's on PC port yet. Well, the idea of like, oh yeah, it's on my Netflix, it's on this, I think is really interesting to do. I don't know if Netflix also these terms that they were talking about are so new. When I was gonna say like, so can we like Netflix on phones? Is it like an xCloud idea? Like, are we able to play a game on our phone through Netflix? Only time will tell. And it is definitely something interesting. I think it's also a weird. If PlayStation is putting money into Netflix, it is definitely, in my opinion, it ain't no strong punch. It's like a 2-finger jab at like Xbox chess about cloud gaming, in my opinion. Only time will tell, but I think it's very interesting to have this going on. And like go on like that, but like the idea of like Netflix is getting into video games in that weird sense. It's kind of crazy. I know Sony has some movie deals with them right now. I don't know if this is part of their like underlining like contracts they've also agreed on. That's where the data mine comes from. But yeah, if anybody wants to ever tweet at Mike Fowler 93 about this, because I think it's very interesting. I never brought it up anywhere because, who cares? But anyone wants to talk to me and like tell their thoughts on this, please shout out to me. That'd be really cool. Now, this is definitely the biggest surprise of this year out of nowhere. And perfect timing with the idea of like how we talked last week with Delvin. I think Nintendo is definitely shitting their bed by making this new model. They made a whole craze, and they're not. I don't want to keep hitting that Switch Pro drum, but the idea of, I don't think this is what they should be talking about with their customers. I think they should just, whatever. But Valve this week came and introduced us to the new Steamdeck, which is going to be it's basically a handheld computer that can play. Long story short, I'm not that good at knowing all the specs, but I do know some layman's terms I heard today or through this and this. But they have its own 7-inch touchscreen device with 2 joysticks, of course the buttons. There will be 2 touchpads. There's touchpads on the screen, but also there's 2 these little sensitive, like, remember the Steam controller where they didn't have like real joysticks? They kind of had these rubber spots. These 2, so you have a little bit more precise, feels more like a mouse and keyboard-esque feel. I believe I just said the screen 7 inches, so it's kind of going into the same ballpark as the new OLED Switch. Of course, not OLED, but the real kit and caboodle compared to the Switch is this also does 720p, but it has enough. It has enough for console terms. It has basically 2 teraflops of power, and that goes you into above a PlayStation 4 Pro of power. So it can do modern, current gen games, and it also contains the PC specs, so it can run a RDNA 2, so you can have ray tracing and probably better looking shadows compared to the fucking Nintendo. But the idea of it also can do is not like, of course, the same dock system as Nintendo, but it does do a dock situation where you can plug it into a monitor, and that can run itself on like a little PC, and you can it runs a Linux and a not modern, but its own Steam software on there. And they said you can mod it, you can put other shit on this Steam Deck. And I definitely think the Steam Deck is definitely giving me the most feelings to ever become like a quote unquote PC gamer, because I want to just be this handheld guy, because it looks really cool. Some people didn't like the design at first, but I loved it at the beginning because it has the joysticks are kind of like they're on both on the opposite sides of the screen, but they're on the same line, like plane of lines, so it looks like a PlayStation DualShock, like straight line of sticks. And but it is running, like, the specs are so that you can have a 720p quality of graphic, but a very high rate of frames still. And like apparently and this is the kicker. So the Switch just came out, OLED model came out for $350. For $50 more, you can get a Steam Deck with 64 gigs of internal storage, which is roughly, I want to say it's the same as the new OLED model of internal storage. And you'll have technically a way more powerful handheld, something that actually has way better sales of, like, for sales of, like, you can get, like, they were highlighting Control. So you could play Control, Control on PC is because you run it off the Steam. Steam has summer sales. There'll be discounts out the wazoo. I'm not trying to say it like that for pirates right now, but the idea of you can probably put an emulator on here. You can run Switch games on this fucking thing, and you'll have a better Switch than a real Nintendo Switch. And then there are 3 different options. So we said the lowest model is $400 for 64 gigs. And in between the 3 base lines of what I'm going to say, none of these have any in-game differences of frame rates or graphic quality between the 3 models. But there are, if you go up to the middle tier one is $529. So that's $129 more than the base, quote unquote, base model. But you get 256 gigs of internal storage, and it's a SSD at that price. And you also get the higher up you go, the higher like you get some exclusive Steam community profile bundles. But they all come with carrying cases, so I don't want to say it like that. But you get faster storage from the $529 one, or you can go all the way up to $650 for 512 gigabytes of SSD. I'm not saying this is going to be the same speeds as a PS5 because that's definitely a different setup and how consoles are different compared to. This is a full-blown like PC inside a handheld idea. The one thing that makes you kind of interested is, of course, the SSD, but the 651 also comes with like this special anti-glare glass for the screen. But nobody who has been talking about the Steamdeck has been like going like this. Oh, you should definitely go to the $650 one. So I don't know what that pertains of like, oh yeah, the you need to get the anti-glare glass shit. I'm just saying the things that they show in their specs of like perks. And then also the kit and caboodle for this whole thing. All the models also can carry. You can put SD SD cards in it for more storage. And you know, SD cards are definitely very affordable. And I ain't gonna lie, this is, like I said, I'm saying right now, this is probably the closest I've ever thought of becoming a quote unquote a PC gamer. When I say that, I mean like I'm gonna have a Steam account. That'd be my new, like, I'm gonna be, I'm playing on Steam on a handheld. It is definitely $400 for even let's go down the bottom. $400 for a PS4 Pro handheld is very tantalizing. It is very definitely a big conversation starter for like, hey, this could be the thing that pushes Nintendo, which who would have thought with you have PlayStation, you have Xbox, moving the fucking wheel down a whole football field of innovation in the sense of how I word it. To your customers of how you should maybe run it, because they go very close to a PC in some stuff, not everything. Of course, like let's backtrack how I said, but because also I want to say Nintendo is very innovative. They've also the reason why we have motion, like they are the reason why we have a motion censored controller as like innovated because of them. Not saying they did the first thing, but they're the reason why, like, yeah, we're going to do something cool, so someone else made a better version or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But Nintendo has definitely been told for years, oh, they've been beating their own drum like this, whatever. But there are so many. This is me assuming shit. For every diehard Nintendo fan, there should be probably 2 ex-Nintendo fans that still like them, but the idea that they still understand the bullshit they do. Like $60 remasters of games that, because they have the Nintendo logo, they are automatically have to be $60. Some of these quality of the games should just be only maybe, $40, $50 games. But because they were Nintendo, $60, no one bats an eye. They do my favorite. You'll bitch about it, and they still pre-order it on every system or on the system. What I'm trying to say is, so people were very upset about the OLED screen announcement. And there are still a lot of people that I know pre-ordered it. I want to know how many people grabbed their pre-order, canceled it, and added $50 more and got the Steamdeck. Because the Steamdeck has definitely now opened my eyes for, handheld gaming might be back in my hands. You know what I'm saying? And I am not tech savvy. This podcast is running on 2 hamsters on rubber bands of how a computer should be working. But the idea of could you imagine, if I could figure out an emulator for a Steam Deck plus also have Steam and also, you know what I mean? And even sounds dumb, but you can probably add the Epic Game Store somewhere down the road onto a Steam Deck that you'll have those free games and all that shit. I think this is definitely, this is a real competitor to be reckoned with for even Nintendo. Maybe not, how would I word it? There's a big conversation people think of PCs are never on those NPD charts, but also I don't even think they're really registered onto NPD charts. But if Steam Deck comes out, I think this will be the first. Probably ain't the first, so I'll correct how I said. This will be the most recent PC-centric thing to probably hit NPD for a month. What I say is it's still going to be would it beat a console in system sales in a month? Maybe not, because I don't know if Steam Deck's going to be at Walmart. I don't think it's going to be at Target. You know what I mean? It could be. I'm not saying I know. But I could see it. I bet money Steam Deck will be on a constant NPD. It comes out starting 2022. Sometimes some of these pre-orders I heard, you could have pre-ordered and they're going to start shipping them out in the holiday, but you might not get them till early 2022. So, but I could see a Steam Deck on the systems maybe be a consistent. I want to give it a consistent 5 months at 4th or 5th place in selling. Well, because I don't know what's exactly everything on the NPD. So I want to say it's going to be almost 4 months of maybe 100,000 differential from the next thing above it. I'm not going to say okay, let's say the Switch still doesn't remove Steam off of, this doesn't ruin their thing, so they keep hitting number 1. So let's say we'll make fake numbers. Let's say, in next January, Switch still sold 1 million systems. Number 2 was PS5 for 900,000 for a fake number. Xbox was we'll make it a tie, 900,000 also. But I want to say there will be 4 months of Steam Deck, 800,000. You know what I'm saying? That idea. I'm thinking it's going to be very fucking close now. If people understand what this is, because they made it so simple in my eyes. This is me as a non-computer guy. Hey, how would you like a handheld with a store that gives you free online play, gives you probably the best deals out there for any system of games, and how would you like to be able to customize it? And also, majority of the games that are coming out, you're not locked into a exclusivity on PC. So hey, you got a PlayStation, you're upset that Xbox got Bethesda. Hey, you can play Bethesda on this thing. Hey, it sounds dumb how I'm going to say it, but this is very crazy, the idea I'm going to say. Hey, Xbox, you didn't play PlayStation? and you think Horizon Zero Dawn, the old one, looks good, it's on Steam. How would you like to play a handheld Horizon Zero Dawn? Apparently on the 7-inch monitor, like I said, it's 2 teraflops strength, but however the pixel density or that shit works because it's on such a small screen, it says apparently it has the same graphical pixelation power as like the Xbox Series X, like the most current gen system. So the idea I'm trying to say is, I think this is gonna be big. I think it's gonna be bigger than what people are expecting. I think it's gonna be something. I hopefully it is also competition for Nintendo, because I think Nintendo has the most room for improvement, and I also think if Steamdeck does so well, I hope PlayStation thinks about doing another handheld, because they were ahead of their time in some spots. They had the OLED first. They had, the idea of making games. You just need, the price is about that timing. You get, now if someone, you could buy a PlayStation Vita back in the day with roughly, I'm not going to say it's like PS3 power, but the idea of like that ballpark for $300. For $100 more now, you can get up to a PS4 Pro. Get the fuck out of it. You know what I'm saying? That would be huge. But yeah. That's what my thoughts on it. I think it's kind of crazy. And I'm going to be looking into, I know the Steam Deck reservations are definitely probably sold out. So I'm definitely going to just be waiting until next year when they come out and just be looking around. If I can find, I think I like to get that middle tier one. 200 whatever, 50, I think I said 215 gigabytes. But the idea of like get that first bottom dollar of SSD into a handheld. And you know what's crazy I was thinking too, before we leave on this, is I wonder if they will be smart and they say, hey, in 2 years, your Steam Deck, we can also, we'll get you, you can buy parts for it. So you want to put a new, because I'm using words now for PC. You want to put a new graphics card in there? All right, it's $200. Because it's that idea that you're buying the minimalized like laptop style size shit. But I digress. Hey, you want a Steam Deck that does still 2 years from now next gen console games? For $200, you can get a new graphics card, which is normal for PC gamers. So I'm not trying to say it like as a way to I'm out. Like, I'm not going to do that shit no more. Idea for people who are brand new to PC because it's normal. I think that'd be really cool if they do go down that road. They don't just make it and say, here's the model. You're stuck at 2 teraflops. How about in 2 years, like, hey, we'll add another teraflop. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah. Wow. That was definitely the biggest part of this week's conversation in my eyes. That Steam Deck definitely caught my eye. And then, thank you guys for listening. And this week's hot picks are, music is going to be from the late and great Pop Smoke, featuring 21 Savage and 42 Doug's, About a Million. I didn't know that. I did know his album was dropping this week. Be pistol packing. But and then for movies, I don't want to say Fear Street Part 3, but I ain't gonna do that. We'll do I think it's Gunpowder Milkshake. It seemed interesting. I didn't get to finish it yet because I get weird. I start focusing on my phone and not the TV. But for comics, like we always do, here's all the number ones coming out this week. Oh shit, I forgot even to mention. I've read my first and bought my first Marvel comics in about 7 years. I am buying the Extreme Carnage run of like this small summer event. And we've obviously discussed on the show, Extreme Carnage was out 2 weeks ago. And then the issue 1 of Scream, which is part 2, is out. But that's what we're going to do. We're start this week's hot pick for Marvel. It's going to be I don't even know how to say it, Phage, Phag, issue 1, which is part 3 of the Extreme Carnage. And Moon Knight is issue 1, comes out this Wednesday. And I ain't gonna lie, I already got I bought it. It's coming in the mail. But I wanted more to touch base about Marvel, and the Extreme Carnage stuff seems very interesting for a person who has learned maybe like water cooler conversations about the King in Black and Donny Cates's Venom run, but not know the whole story. And I know that Absolute Carnage, the idea is like Carnage has been gone since people call it the Isle of Venom and all that shit, or like how there was Extreme Carnage shows how there was like a Carnage shark and all this shit. It shows how it happened. But I do like it because it's just the idea. It's literally a horror movie where all the symbiotes are obviously all hive mind, so they have a haunting ghost talking to them in their heads of Carnage, going like even having like his own like little like heartbeat that makes everyone know it's Carnage and all this shit. But it's been very interesting, and I'm just looking forward to it more. It seems very fun, and also it's not so it's not really in the depths of Marvel Universal. It feels pretty easy to jump into and get into read. Besides, you just have to know some Venomized stuff. But yeah, that's from Marvel. Image is Mother of Madness, and this one it's issue 1, but also I've been trying to get into it or wanted to talk to somebody through it. But it is a book or a comic book written by Emilia Clarke, the Mother of Dragons, girl with funny, very charismatic eyebrows when she does acting. But yeah, that's from Image. DC, like we said, Blue and Gold issue 1, Shazam issue 1, and Superman and the Authority issue 1. So definitely these are 3 out of the 10 books I just said, or 12 books that are about Infinite Frontier is good issue 1s to get into. And then from Boom, Dark Blood issue 1. And then I don't remember who's pushing this out, but Trailer Park Boys is getting their own comic book, and issue 1 comes out this week. And thank you guys for listening. And of course, please follow me on Twitter at MikeFowler93. Please also share the show with a friend. And like I said, if you want even just to say, hey, congrats on 1 year of the CuzNCiseal Show, please tweet it at me. I really appreciate to see it. But yeah, until next time, be good to each other. And I'll see you next week, hopefully. Peace.